Welcome to YYZ Video, your film book club of choice. Black Lives Matter. This is Press YYZ's bi-weekly movie review show where we take a film series, starting with Pixar, and we're ranking them all. I'm joined today by my co-hosts Nicholas Blaine.
What's up? What's up, everybody? TJ
Beckham.
Howdy, howdy.
And our resident film baby, Alex Ballant.
We finally did it. It's like I was made for this.
We are here for your viewing and listening pleasure on YouTube, as well as on any of your favorite podcast services. And that's it. We have a new thing. This is our new thing. All right, bye, everyone. This was fun.
All right.
All right, bye.
You got a friend in me.
No. Okay, it is time. We've been talking about wanting to do something outside of games for the entirety of Press YYZ. And Nick and TJ both came to us with a phenomenal idea of, let's just start talking about movies. And we love Pixar. All of us are Disney nuts, as far as I can tell. Maybe not Alex, because he's a bit of a snob. But
Just wait.
Oh,
You haven't even seen my final form yet.
But like, I know I've talked at nauseum about the fact that, I got engaged at Disney World. It's very important to both me and my wife, who you may or may not hear from in a bit. But we're going to get to ranking and reviewing all of the Pixar feature-length films as part of this new series for Press YYZ.
Very excited for it. Now, how often can the people listen in for these film rankings?
As I said earlier, this is a bi-weekly movie review show. It'll be releasing, hopefully, every other Friday is what we're aiming for, right? Yeah, every other Friday, youtube.com/C/PressYYZ, as well as any of your podcast services of choice.
I think you could just do youtube.com/PressYYZ now.
I don't know how that works.
Anyways,
I'm trying it right now. We're doing it live.
Yeah, the dead. We're doing it live.
It also works.
The dead air. There's a reason.
PressYYZ.
There's a reason I put Alex and TJ on the same bar, the same across. There's gonna be some thoughts, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So like you and I are going to love the films, Nick, and these guys are going to try to shatter our childhood dreams.
Not all the films, let me tell you. Not all the films.
There's a couple that'll...
How about we get to talking about the film that we're actually talking about today?
What film would that be?
This is the guy wearing the Pizza Planet shirt. We are going to talk about Pixar's first feature-length film, Toy Story. Released in 1995, the film was directed by John Lasseter, who is making his feature-length debut, and was written by, and this one kind of surprised me, I totally forgot, written by Joss Whedon, Andrew Stanton, Joel Cohen, and Alex Sokolov, from a story by Lasseter Stanton, Pete Docter, and Joe Ranft. And if you're at all versed in the Disney Pixar verse, as you see Nick with his Woody and Buzz that he is hugging and won't let go, John Lasseter, best known as the director of other Pixar films like A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Cars, and Cars 2. Joss Whedon, who we all know from a number of television series, as well as being the director of both Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron.
And Justice League. We can't forget his magnum opus.
Moving on. Andrew Stanton co-wrote and co-directed A Bug's Life with Lasseter, directed Finding Nemo and its sequel, Finding Dory, as well as WALL-E, and the live-action Disney film John Carter, co-wrote all 4 Toy Story films and Monsters, Inc. Pete Docter, best known for directing Monsters, Inc., Up, Inside Out, and the latest Disney Pixar film Soul. Toy Story premiered at the El Capitan Theater in Los Angeles, California on November the 19th, 1995, and released across theaters in North America on November 26th the same year. It's the highest grossing film during its opening weekend, eventually grossing over $373 million worldwide.
I'm gonna put a stop right there. Only beaten. Can you guess what it was beaten by?
What? This came out in
95.
So
can you guess?
Whatever Disney put out in 96, I would assume.
Park?
You guys are
Jurassic Park's before that.
Best
way before that.
Die Hard movie.
Oh, Die Hard with a Vengeance?
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
The best Die Hard.
Yep.
Samuel L. Jackson makes all things better.
Just barely outgrossed it.
Another fun fact, Toy Story is 23 days older than I am.
I hate this so much.
Oh, just you wait.
I'm the oldest person on this show, and I remember hearing all of those fun stories that Nathan had on our main show, and I hate this.
I just also realized that I'm technically the second oldest on this show.
Yeah, old
By like 2 months.
I was born in April.
Yeah, it's like 2 months from November.
No, it's not.
No,
it's
not.
not.
Keep on going.
Yeah, keep going.
The film received critical acclaim and holds a rare 100% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. It was praised for the technical innovation of the 3D animation, wit, and thematic sophistication of the screenplay, score, and vocal performances, particularly those of stars Tom Hanks and Tim Allen. It is considered by many to be one of the best animated films ever made. The film received 3 Academy Award nominations. Those were for Best Original Screenplay, Best Original Song for You've Got a Friend in Me, and Best Original Score, as well as winning a Special Achievement Academy Award for the technical achievements made in the film. In 2005, the United States Library of Congress selected the film for preservation in the National Film Registry for being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
And aesthetically significant it is, except for those mouths, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Those
Do you want to
mouths.
just get into it, or
Let's just jump into it, doggy dog.
let's just get into
Yeah.
it?
Man, the what a movie. Let me tell you, watching it after like in 4K, like this is now what 26 years old almost, like I mean by the end of the year. And like it's amazing like how good it looks for the time. Even like you see like little see like the little like dents on the dresser and the windowsill.
Yeah, the dog claw marks on the stairs in Sid's house. There's so much fine detail that Pixar, even with their debut, managed to imbue in this film. That was one of the biggest takeaways that because I haven't watched this in many years at this point, and that was my biggest takeaway was, wow, it might be a little dated in some parts, but goddamn, does it still hold up? Like even just technically, it still holds up rather well for just how old it is.
Well, the thing that blew my mind away too, like on the little details, is we watched 3 of us watched this last night in the Press YYZ Discord, and did a watch along party.
/Press YYZ.
Yeah,
over there.
So we watched it, and one of the Press YYZ friends mentioned the ray tracing on the floors.
That wasn't a friend. That was me.
Oh well.
Yeah, jerk.
It was a friend.
Wait. You consider Mitch a friend?
Wait,
hold on. Let's not be so harsh.
He's a host at best.
Yeah,
co-worker. He's saying at best.
But like seeing like the reflections off the floors blew my mind and just made me question, why do they wax Andy's floors? Like
and the faces of all the toys.
Yeah.
They really wanted to show off that tech, and it does hold up. Like everyone said, it's amazing how visually stunning this film can be. Some technical gaffes aside, like some of the animation on Rex is weird and the mouths are strange, and Buzz's eye got stuck at one point and it really bugged me.
And definitely with Scud just does not look good at all.
Yeah.
The fact that all of the kids at Andy's birthday party are just Andy but reskinned.
Yep.
But it's amazing what they were able to do with the time, with the technology. There was something like 80,000 computer hours that went into animating this film. It's incredible from a technical perspective.
I do want to say, and we'll definitely touch on this as we get further into films, but the one thing that Pixar failed at here is people. All of the people in this movie look terrifying. Specifically Andy.
You just wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think Andy's the most terrifying?
Short that came with this film. And we will talk.
Do you think Andy's the worst looking? I mean, I know it's part of
really
like Sid. Yeah, like besides the fact that you're supposed to kind of like, be against him because he is like the main antagonist of the film. Like he's just a terrifying child. Specifically, like the teeth are all fucked up. It's like. And I know some of it's intentional, but some of it was just because of the limitation of animation, for sure. Right. And I fully think that Sid is just he's a horror character at this point.
Oh, well, we were watching it, and in his bedroom, he had like an army training manual. His
Yeah.
bed has barbed wire on it. Like the kid's got weapons around
He
his
can buy
room.
He had a
explosives.
U.S. Army issued improvised interrogation handbook, as well as a sticker above his bed that just said "I heart explosives."
Yeah.
Yep. That is the most
We didn't see
teenager
the
thing I
sociopath
feel.
before.
That's the most teenager thing I feel about his room is just the I love explosives. Like it is the equivalent at that time of like RAR, like having a RAR sticker. I feel like, and then I don't know if you guys noticed or into skateboarding at all, but I've always noticed this is he has the Zero shirt, like the logo for Zero, which I don't know how they got into that film, but I guess that maybe they approached the skateboarding company, but it's pretty blatantly the Zero logo.
I just assumed he was a big fan of Punisher.
Me too.
It's funny though, because there's other opportunities for them to cross promote with other brands. Famously, actually, they tried to get the rights to G.I. Joe for the Combat Carl that gets blown up by Sid in the backyard, and Hasbro just flat out said no, which is how Combat Carl came to be. And Combat Carl actually makes a return in a later Toy Story short, Toy Story of Terror, I believe it was.
Not only short, dude. We might see him in this future of this franchise.
No. Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to just kind of walk through the film and talk about some of the scenes we felt were most impactful? I can kind of go high level.
Yeah.
Again, this is a work in progress. This is a new show. We don't know how it's going to look. It's going to look different next week or in 2 weeks versus the way it looks today. But do we want to just kind of go with that? I'll just do a rough kind of synopsis and we can kind of just interject.
You got
a friend in me.
It's good.
So the film opens on a scene in presumably what we find out to be Andy's room of him and his toys playing, having a big old shootout kind of hold up situation where there's a $50 bazillion offer on the table, reward for one Mr. Potato Head.
One-eyed Bart. One-eyed Bart.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And we see Andy playing with his toys, going through. We then see Bart thrown into the crib with Andy's younger sister. And boy, howdy, has Pixar's baby animation improved over 7 years.
Yeah.
And we will talk about that.
Between the short and now.
This part, though. So I haven't watched the Toy Story movies in at least like 5 or so years. And this part made me sad because it reminded me of like the joys of being a kid and just letting your imagination run wild. And like I remember using like Max Steel's and my sister's like Barbie airplane and just having these awesome battles.
I want to interject.
Did we just have
all of you when we got to this point?
Yeah.
We see Andy with this connection with his favorite toy, with his Woody. Who was your Woody?
I think it was Woody. Until my dad burned him, but that's a story for another time. That's a story for another time.
I know the story now.
So
you're not going past that.
Yeah, on a podcast now. It's on the internet. The reason I have the Toy Story 4 largely insignificant movie in the start of the Toy Story timeline. The reason I have the Toy Story 4 figures is because when I was a child, my father was like, there's toys everywhere, let's go, and like they're going to the burn pin. Let me tell you, if there's anything my dad loved, it was burning some stuff. And I came home, and let me tell you, a lot of the toys not still around to this day. I'm just gonna put it out there. And then he bought, like a couple of years ago, he bought me these figures as a point of being like, hey, like, I'm sorry. And also he bought me a Metallica jacket when we went to the Metallica concert. So like, you know,
was it worth it?
No, but at the same time.
So I don't think I had I never had a toy like I slept with.
Right.
But like my go-tos were definitely Max Steel.
Dude,
God, you're young.
I think we had the same like childhood because you saying you had the Max Steels and the Barbies hookup is an exact memory that I have.
Yeah, like it. That's the thing, and then the movies just made me remember, like, man, like being an adult has these like some great connotations to it. Money to be able to buy stupid stuff. But I just miss, like, again, making your toys just fight each other and having fun like that. Like, your only care is, like, is Miss Potato Head gonna die?
On a more like personal level, like in a career wise, like you kind of end up like if you get into entertainment and stuff like that, you kind of end up doing that. You know, you kind of end up playing with these figures. I mean, you think about the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and like that is just people playing around with these figures, these characters, and making them mesh together. And it is like that's such an important part, I think, for me as a kid growing up. Like this is one of the first movies I ever remember watching, and like the impact that had on me over the years has been super overwhelming. So
Alex, who was your Woody? Because them talking about Max Steel makes me feel like I'm 75 years old.
Oh man, you're only making it worse.
I know.
You're asking me.
I know. I'm asking the youngest person here, like an idiot.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, the one that kind of comes to mind the most, was I did have a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man from Spider-Man 2 specifically, that basically, because Spider-Man was and still is one of my favorite just fictional characters, just period. The Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies hold a very, very special place in my heart. And so I just, I wore it to death. And then I had one for each of the movies. So I got like a Spider-Man 1 and then one for 2, which was probably like, it came out, like I got it at like the perfect time where I was like playing with toys. And then the Spider-Man 3 one as well, because it was the black suit Spider-Man. So it was like a nice, like contrasty type thing. But yeah, so, I don't know how much that triggers your old age, but okay, good. Okay, good.
For me, like the toys I was always drawn to, like when I was a kid, was all Beast Wars, so like the animal versions of Transformers and Power Rangers. So those were all, too many little parts, things I couldn't quite take to bed. So I didn't sleep with any of my toys like Andy, but like the go-tos for me were those. And it's actually funny watching this and reminiscing about having toys and being able to play with them. And not related to Pixar at all, but my wife and I just finished Bridgerton, the new Netflix series, which is like a family drama based in Victorian London. And it's like between those two things, like I kind of want to have kids so I can play with toys with them. Like that would just be the best, to be able to be this big kid playing with toys again. It'd be a whole thing. But we get to this point, everyone leaves the room, and the crux of the film is revealed as all of the toys spring to life, with Woody, voiced by Tom Hanks, being the sort of sheriff of the room. Fun fact, Billy Crystal was originally... Oh, that's a different character. Never mind. We'll talk about that in a minute.
I know
but yeah, so no, we have Tom Hanks start to bring everyone together, wants to have a meeting in the room, and we find out that Andy's birthday party has been moved up from next week to
today.
Yeah, and all the toys flip the hell out.
Listen, I wanna point a couple of things out here for this point in the movie. So I think even this movie has kind of a Mos Eisley Cantina moment. Like you look at all the toys.
Some way to talk about Star Wars.
Yes. However, you look at all these toys and you're like, what's that story? Like, what's the relationship between the snake and the robot? Like, are they getting it on? You know what I'm saying? Like, are they have a very platonic relationship? Or
they're
listen,
plasticky bits.
Listen,
let's just say by the end of the movie, we know toys do fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is a perfect segue into one of my biggest questions.
No, it's not.
So the toys come to life. I need Pixar to explain to me the laws of this universe.
Exactly.
Because, like, how do they come to life? What comes to life? Is it what consists of a toy? Is it like a cheap toy can come to life? Is expensive toys? Do sex toys come to life?
Yeah, Andy's probably not the only one who has toys in the house.
All right, explicit we are.
You don't fucking say.
No, the one thing I wanted to say, and we haven't introduced the character yet, but we obviously know our good friend Buzz. How does he know how to like get into toy mode if he doesn't know he's a toy? You know
Well,
what I'm
there are
saying?
parts of the film where he almost breaks that, right? Like when he gets into the Pizza Planet van, the dude's
Yeah.
sitting right there, and he fucking hops up into the truck, and
Yeah.
buckles a seatbelt.
Well,
That's my
we know
biggest
that
flaw
that
with
pizza pizza
Yeah.
that
totally
pizza
sucks.
crony is. Let me tell you, he's driving under the influence of something. Let me tell you.
This room meeting scene is actually one of my biggest issues with the movie, because not only is Woody using the microphone or whatever it is to
Yeah.
like speak to the room, how are people not hearing this commotion in Andy's room when there's nobody in the room?
Yeah, like thinking
And then
about
they're looking outside and they're messing with the blinds. How is no one seeing the toys messing
Listen,
with the blinds?
a lot of people are oblivious though at the same time. Like thinking about,
and
I guess
they're
this was before the digital age of things as well. But people are oblivious. There can be things happening outside your window, and you're just like, I am not. I
Not
don't
gonna ask any
understand. I'm not going to ask
questions.
any questions. The other thing that I want to say is a through line, perhaps a drawn line in these three films, or the three films of Toy Story, is the draw scenes. Like you think about it, in the first one, it's the Etch-a-Sketch where he says draw, and then he draws the gun, and then in the second one, it's the dog, and then in the third one, it's the dog again, but the dog's old.
A little,
So yeah,
a little wiser.
yeah.
Okay, so Andy's birthday party's today. The toys all freak out, and Woody sends in the army men to spy on the party. As they make their way to the party, Andy's mom commits one of the most egregious offenses I've ever seen in a film, and brings out only Cool Ranch and barbecue chips. What kind of
Excuse me?
sociopath presents a group of children with only the options of Cool Ranch and barbecue?
Cool Ranch is real good. Cool Ranch is the
It's
best.
not. It's not.
Cool Ranch is
good.
the best default Dorito. And y'all
I thought
y'all
you were
too
gonna mention
scared.
that she steps on a man.
Yeah,
She
he
injures
a
a
man.
Go
man.
on without
She,
me.
she
We're
breaks
getting
the
to it.
Geneva Convention.
But when I
and
watched this movie for the
steps on
second
that
time in
soldier.
24 hours, the Cool Ranch thing stood out to me because it's not the best Dorito flavor. We all know nacho cheese is the superior Dorito, and no one else can say a word about it.
I agree.
Thank you.
Cool
wife
Ranch.
Sweet
does not.
chili heat would like a word,
Ooh,
please.
yes.
Sweet
yes.
chili heat isn't even a default Dorito flavor.
It's not, but also.
I like sweet chili poop.
Yeah, so army men's end up getting hurt, and we've got
Cool
a field
Ranch.
medic there taking care of them, and we get to the gifts, and we're seeing things like bed sheets and a lunchbox, and for some reason the game Battleship. And as we see later in the film, the lunchbox and bed sheets come into play. Battleship
Well, so
Kid did not get the memo, because ultimately Mom brings out
No,
a final.
no.
Sorry, go ahead.
We do see
We
them
do
play
see-
Battleship.
We do see
later.
the toys play Battleship.
We
Oh,
do see
yeah.
that. I meant the memo of the lunchbox is themed, the sheets
Oh.
are themed, and ultimately Mom
Who
brings
brought
out
this
the
kid?
surprise gift. Buzz motherfucking Lightyear,
Buzz
voiced
Lightyear.
by Tim Allen. Fun fact, Billy Crystal was originally offered the part of Buzz Lightyear but declined. Upon seeing the finished film, he said that decision was the biggest mistake of his career. Upon learning this, John Lasseter phoned Billy's house to offer him the role of Mike Wazowski in Monsters, Inc. Billy's wife answered and said, "John Lasseter wants to speak to you." Billy Crystal took the phone from his wife and said one word: yes. Didn't even wait to hear what he was offering him, but he knew if John
And
Lasseter
that film was
presenting him with a-
Cars. No.
No, it was Monsters, Inc.
I know. It was
It
Monsters,
was
Inc.
the good
Let's
dinosaur,
yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
So we then have all the kids come back into the room with the Buzz Lightyear. They're playing with all the toys. Woody gets knocked off the bed, is super sad.
I also want to say, backing up to the military, like the army men scene, like the score here is so good, and like the way that it incorporates with what the army men are doing at each line of their tasks, like the opening of the parachutes. Like it hits so well, and I've always thought that since I was a kid, like I'm like, oh, that's really dope, like the.
The other thing too around this time, are y'all familiar with the concept of a hidden Mickey?
I have played a Kingdom Hearts game before, so yes.
Okay, so you are, but we won't talk about Kingdom Hearts, Alex. I promise.
Okay, I was about to hang up. Just had to leave.
Hidden Mickeys in Disney lore, especially when it comes to the theme parks, are just instances where the Mickey Mouse face, so the face with the two ears, are hidden within everyday objects. So, a banister might have Mickey's in it, or it's hidden in the floor tiles, or whatever the case might be. So we actually get an instance of a hidden Mickey that isn't quite so hidden in this film. As the kids enter Andy's room, he has a wall clock that is a wristwatch, and on said wristwatch, one Mickey Mouse.
That is very interesting, seeing as when this movie came out, it was not associated with Disney at all. This was long before
it was distributed.
Well, it was distributed by Disney, but they weren't owned. They were partnering at this point.
Yeah.
And
okay,
partnered
thank
for
you.
all their films.
Thank you.
Before we continue, the Army Men.
Mm-hmm.
I love these Army Men so much. I know, like Ari Emery, the guy who played him. Yeah, that's it. Sadly, passed away. But I would love a Disney Plus series focused on these Army Men and some of the antics they go on, because just like this few minutes alone, and then later in the film, some of the things that go on, like I love it, and I need more. I need more of these like tactical toy operations.
Yeah. I feel like this would be it would be a great moment to bring like back like all of the different military toys that kids would play as a kid. Like, Combat Carl could come in, and then, because like basically it's an analogy for G.I. Joe with Combat Carl. It's like you could have so many different types of like other, characters. I agree. I think that would be just such a, because this like few moments alone with the toy soldiers, I think it really set I think it's one of the best examples of like the tone being set of like how the toys interact with the world is mostly how they interact in real life. Like the toys, like, yes, they can move a little bit more unrealistically than they could in real life, but for the most part, they still abide by their, at least I think with the Army Men, the way that they move, they do like hopping because they're still stuck to the plastic. And I think that's a really, cool feature. I think it gets a little bit more fleshed out in later films, but I think this still like, I think that was one of the coolest things is like, how do all these toys interact if they were, sentient, and how they do move?
Well, I think that's another thing I wanted to touch upon is like even earlier on, how all these different toys, even though some of these toys are very much, your regular toy that you see in any a play box or anything, but like the cassette player, I forget what they call him, but the eyes, you look at it's the cassette holders, like look at the eye, like his pupils are the cassette holders, and just like the different ways that they make each character feel so unique are like in a background character, not even like a main character, your potato heads and all that. But yeah,
like every toy in Sid's room, none of them speak, and they are all iconic in just the way they move, absolutely, and the way that they interact with all the characters. I think that it's one of the highlights of the film in general is just the character design. It all feels unique but also plausible. Like I could see these being real toys,
exactly,
which they did get turned. Yeah, they ended up being real toys
and made Disney a ton of money. But we can move on from there, I think.
Yes.
One thing I do want to come back to is you mentioned Potato Head. He's got a vendetta for Woody, doesn't he?
Potato Head is the real villain of this movie. Like 100%
favorite before Woody shows up, and he still holds that grudge. Like we see at the meeting in the room, calls him an ass kisser. Like a lot of weird things, a lot of little things, little jobs that you kind of gloss over as a kid. But you realize as an adult, like Potato Head hates Woody.
Potato Head's a real piece of shit. Like let me tell you something. There's
a reason Andy uses him as the villain.
Yeah, like he very much is like, we talk about like the sociopath that is Woody in this film. No, the real sociopath is Potato Head and the entirety of the series. Like he is just so hell bent on being a little shit at every point.
So at this point, we are introduced to Tim Allen's Buzz Lightyear, who does not know himself to be a toy. And he presents himself to the room. They're all confused. And we get him falling with style, where he still thinks he can fly, but clearly is just incredibly lucky.
which this, and then shortly there's another moment that when Buzz, spoilers, get knocked out the window. Someone at Pixar must be really into Rube Goldberg machines.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 instances of it in this movie, and it just blows my mind.
Especially the way they were able to animate, like not just like it's almost like the technical achievement of getting that to work in animation. Getting that to work in One Life is a real thing, but when all these technological like milestones are being met in this one film, and they figure out how to do it not once but twice, blows my mind. But we get a whole montage of Andy essentially replacing Woody as his favorite toy. We have Woody wake up in the toy box missing his hat, to which we have a now infamous scene of the shark peering out of the toy box wearing Woody's hat going, "I'm Woody.
Howdy, 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 howdy."
Love it. Which actually is based off an old Western cartoon.
I have no idea.
Let me find that little factoid I've got here. So when this is done, this is a reference to a cowboy eating vulture in one of Gary Larson's The Far Side daily comic strips from the early 80s, who did something very similar where he ate a cowboy and then wore his hat and said, "Hey, everyone, look, I'm a cowboy. Howdy, howdy,
Hey,
howdy."
look, I'm Woody. Howdy, 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 howdy.
Exactly. So we see this animosity start to build between Woody and the rest of the room, especially Buzz, and it culminates in, as TJ mentioned earlier, what became Woody wanting to just hide Buzz turned into him being knocked out of the room entirely onto the driveway. Everyone's freaking out. Yep.
There's this. Go ahead, TJ. But
Well,
I
I
do
was
have
gonna
a
say-
tangent myself.
This brings me to another part of my does toy life work? So Potato Head calls out
Damn
like
me.
that RC is like saying that it was a Woody he threw him out the window.
Mm-hmm.
How does Potato Head understand RC? How does language work in
Right.
this movie?
Well,
Listen,
as we've developed, Potato Head, piece of shit. And he probably doesn't even speak RC's language. In fact, Potato Head's probably racist. Like, at this point, like an RC racist.
Oh, and also at this point, we get a Wilhelm scream as Buzz is launched out the window.
We do.
Cannot miss that.
But
And also a very dark moment where Potato Head has the Etch-a-Sketch present Woody with a noose.
yeah.
Like, holy crap,
Yeah.
this movie got
This
real
place,
dark.
this
real
place gets
quick.
dark.
Oh, we totally skipped over the introduction of Sid. So we get introduced to Sid, the neighbor kid who blows up a toy, and somehow has access to such a
Combat
small
Carl.
explosive that is able to blow up Combat Carl with such effect that the pieces get as high as a second-story window.
Yeah.
It also shakes the entire room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did he get a hold of such high-grade explosives?
His
At this
dad's
point, his
in
father
the
must have been a military,
CIA.
right?
Terrorist.
He is a domestic terrorist, confirmed.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
I did.
So we see.
Yeah.
No, go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
Oh, I did want to
You're
go
Candy
into
Girl
because
as well, yeah.
we mentioned it a little bit earlier about the music, and the composer is Randy Newman, who iconically made the theme of Toy Story, the "You've Got a Friend in Me."
The entire
Which is-
soundtrack.
Yeah, he did the entire
He did the whole
soundtrack.
score,
so good.
yeah, which was Oscar nominated. Yeah.
I'm gonna say I think the Strange Things Happening is
Yes.
very inappropriate and basically just said, I think it sucks because of the way that they used it in the film, because it basically just says what Woody's emotional state is, even though that has all been presented to you through the visuals. It is completely unnecessary, and if anything, I think it fucking sucks and is very inappropriate to use it during this time.
And we'll go sailing. No.
I gotta say, I know
This
we
whole
have
year is just going to turn into Randy Newman.
we have some hot takes that I knew were coming up further into the podcast
I
series.
did not think it
Did
was
not
good.
expect one during Toy Story.
Oh, I did for sure.
I just think, like, looking at it now, I'm like, why was that there? Like, the rest of the soundtrack, I mean, the other Randy Newman song beside, I honestly think the only, like, song that is good is You Got a Friend in Me. I think the other one's fine, too. Like, I just don't think that they're significant. And this one, The Strange Times, is genuinely, like, it just explains what Woody is feeling, even though we already know what he's feeling, because we can see it.
Isn't that the meme though? Like that Randy Newman just does music that explains what people are doing anyway.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
That is
Ain't
the
no
meme
doubt
culture
about
surrounding
it.
Randy Newman.
I
Yeah,
will say,
okay.
Strange Things, it's a good song to me, but I
Not
get the whole thing.
great.
The other one though, the sailing one that Nick just quoted, that one stellar. You're wrong, Alex.
It's so good.
All right.
It's so good.
I won't die on this hill.
And also,
But
But
in the notes here, I have Potato Head kind of sucks. Like can he really hear what RC is saying? And then I said ... But also Woody is also a mob wife for sure. I don't know what context that is.
Okay.
I totally
And-
forgot. I just want to put that.
And
out
we're
there.
moving on to Andy taking Woody on the trip to Pizza Planet. And we get our first Easter egg of Pixar. Well, not first, actually. We've had the Luxo Ball earlier. We see that in the scene with the field medic and the toys. But here we get an Easter egg that has persisted through all of Pixar's films. And one we will point out in each of them, A113. So the license plate on Andy's mom's car reads A113. A113 is a room used by the animation department at Cal Arts, the alma mater of a large number of Pixar employees, including John Lasseter. This Easter egg would feature in many, if not all, future Pixar films.
One thing I wanted to point out as a Pixar of the time Easter egg, if you look while Woody is talking in the background, the book on the shelf says Tin Toy. Just wanna.
There's actually a number of times where they show that
yeah.
shelf, and there you see Tin Toy, which was you see a number of books that are titled after animated shorts from Pixar, including Tin Toy, 1989's Knick Knack, 1987's Red's Dream, and 1986's Luxo Jr.
Mm-hmm.
So in this whole kind of stretch from knocked out the window to Pizza Planet, so Buzz gets lost, so Andy grabs Woody. Woody gets lost, and Andy comes home, doesn't have either of them. How is Andy not worried about how his toys constantly go missing?
Hey, that happens.
that
to all of us,
happens,
okay?
though.
I had the Pokemon trading card game video game on the Game Boy Color, and to this day, it has been lost in my parents' house, never to be seen again. So it happens to all of us.
My brother took his Game Boy Advance out hunting with him, and he dropped it in the snow. I kid you not, it survived the winter. We went back and we found the Game Boy Advanced SP in the snow, and it still turned on with Pokemon Emerald in it. Anyways,
we end up at the Dynaco gas station, which is where Woody discovers that Buzz is still hanging around on the car. And Andy's mom asks if Andy wants to help pump gas. Who let the child pump gas?
I did that all
I
the time.
I did that as well.
Yeah, no, my parents
at
did
age
all the
of like
time.
so much
6?
fun.
6.
He's not 6.
Andy was not
Yeah.
6.
I
He's
think
like,
he's
How
6.
old was
8.
Andy in Toy Story? No.
Like
He's
10.
like 7 or 8.
Whatever. Okay, so we get into the fight between Woody and Buzz and the infamous
Wait,
"You
wait.
are a toy." Go
Wait,
ahead,
before we get into the Woody and Buzz fight, one, I want to point out this is the only movie where Tom Hanks is the villain. And two,
No,
that...
he was in Polar Express as well.
Oh, that's also fair. Just being in that, makes him a villain. But Buzz basically says like, I am the only one who has the information to take down evil Emperor Zurg, which begs the question: is Lightyear just gonna be Rogue One? Like, think about it.
It's honest because literally I'm sitting there, I'm like, Zurg is just Darth Vader.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing is that, and it's referenced in the next movie, but like, yeah, like they talk about like the evil Emperor Zurg space station and all that, and like he has the only information. Like that's literally the plot to Rogue One.
I'm good with Star Wars 2 featuring Chris Evans as Buzz Lightyear. So we'll get to there when that movie does release and we review it for this show. But moving on, Woody and Buzz both get left behind at the Dynaco gas station and hitch a ride to Pizza Planet via a delivery driver. Once there, we end up with Woody and Buzz trying to figure out some way for Buzz to get a spaceship and Woody to get back to Andy. Buzz then leaps into said spaceship, also known as the Claw Machine, to meet the as Woody dons a nickname to them as Zealots, which I was not expecting him to call the alien Zealots because they believe in a claw, but that's what happens. And by circumstance, Sid is also at Pizza Planet, finds Woody and Buzz in the crane machine, and unfortunately wins them and takes them home.
Which I gotta say.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
No, you go ahead. I've done
The most unbelievable thing about this movie is the fact that not only would that claw grab Buzz, but hold on
to him.
Oh yeah, by the helmet too.
Not a chance.
So I want to point out two things that I noticed in this watch of the film. So in future-ish spoilers, but in Toy Story 2, they hide under cones to walk across traffic. They basically do that very same thing in this movie in the Pizza Planet scene with the cup and the burger box. And I just also Pizza Planet having burgers? I don't know if I want to try that. And then
so how do they put the holes in the cup?
Yeah,
and the
that's
box
the other thing.
The cones have a hole in the bottom. The box and the cup do not.
And maybe
do they find some sort of scissors?
He lasers it, maybe, or just punches through it.
We all know the laser doesn't work because he is a toy.
Maybe if they believe enough. We saw it out off screen, so maybe if they believe enough. And then also, I love the reference to Whack-A-Alien, which is basically like a xenomorph, which is a reference to Disney buying out Fox and owning the Alien franchises later on.
Yes, it is a precognition that Disney is going to be
they knew
our corporate overlords and own everything.
Back in '95.
I will say too, I want Pizza Planet. I want to go to a Pizza Planet so bad, especially because there's a specific.
As far as I know, the only one is at Disneyland, California, right?
I don't know. I've never been.
I think because the one in Disney World was replaced by Pizza Rizzo in Disney's Hollywood Studios.
Gross. There is a 5-second clip of someone at Pizza Planet getting alien slime to drink.
Yeah.
And for some reason that sticks with me.
It's so cool.
And I want to try it so bad.
Yeah.
You want an alien to slime you.
Well, think about how
100%.
like you see how high up the alien slime is, like
that would have just made a mess.
There was so much mess. There's like kids running around everywhere. That's causing such a mess.
Everything is just sticky.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
All...
Just every time you take a step, it just
as it should be.
Yeah. That's you, and you know you're at a good pizza restaurant.
Yeah.
Layer of grime just all over it.
So as far as I can tell from the Disneyland.disney.go.com website, there is a Pizza Planet quick service location in Disneyland, in Tomorrowland specifically.
No.
So unfortunately, it's not the large arcade experience you'd be looking for, TJ, but it does exist there for when we eventually get there, when the world becomes a little more normal. All right. So we're with Sid. We are in Sid's backpack. We are taken into Sid's home. Fun fact, the carpet here matches the carpet from the hotel in The Shining.
Mm-hmm. I was going to point that out.
And also with
reference.
Yeah.
And within Sid's backpack, you see, or on the outside of Sid's backpack, you see Julie McBarfel has cooties, which is a reference to camera manager Julie M. McDonald, who lobbied people to put her name in the film. Juju's House of Food in the film is also another reference to this woman.
I don't believe that man's ever been to medical school. That's one of my favorite lines in this movie.
Yeah, we get Sid harassing his sister, who, fun fact, only ever makes an appearance in this film.
Yeah.
And he does some weird yeah, go ahead, TJ.
This comes to another point in actually, sorry, not the toys life, but I need to know, I need like a short or something. I need to know what happens to Sid's sister, because she's absolutely tortured by Sid. Like she takes his doll and puts a pterodactyl head on it. That's just the start. That's just what we see.
But that's like, when you think about it, like that ends like this film where he's probably had more trauma than she has ever had, because he finds out the existence of the toys being real, which begs the question when we see him later on in a certain film, how he is any sort of sane.
Yeah, he's psychologically broken.
Yeah.
I mean, he was before he finds out about the toys, but we will get there.
Well, that's begs another question. It's like I want to follow up. I want to know how Sid's sister is doing, and also how much therapy Sid had to do.
I'd love a short similar to
the Incredibles one.
Well, I was gonna say "Hail to the King" from Iron Man 3, of like just Sid is somehow in prison and you've got a camera crew following him around because his whole life went to crap after all the Toy Story stuff.
See,
but we can move on.
I want like the Incredibles one where it's the babysitter and getting the babysitter
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, that was good. Too.
Also, what a creative little boy Sid is. You know, he's taking off the heads. He's putting out new. He's basically a toy maker. Let me put it out there. It's basically
Honestly,
a toy maker.
the fishing rod with the legs.
Yeah.
That's a pretty
Hooker-
good toy.
That's
right
pretty
there.
interesting.
The hooker.
Look, no, it's legs. It's referred
Sorry,
to as legs.
Legs.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So
Moving-
now this
moving-
actually, sorry, this brings me to another point of the lives of
the
toys.
show is never going to end.
It's
It
never
will.
going to
It
end.
will.
So another thing when it comes to the life of toys, at one point they're surrounding Buzz and they're trying to take the one toy, and Woody calls them cannibals.
Yeah.
So this puts into connotation that do toys eat, and are there toy cannibals? Do they eat each other? What do toys eat?
It's just a line in the movie. It doesn't
What
have
do
to be
they
taken as
eat?
fact.
Like, do they eat
Okay.
people food? Do they eat the weaker toys?
Moving
Dead
on.
skin? Like, what do they
We-
eat?
We are introduced to the cacophony of terrors that Sid has created in his room, and Woody and Buzz become adamant that they must escape in some way. So, in the whole kerfuffle of trying to get out, Buzz stumbles upon what I presume is Sid's dad watching TV or has fallen asleep on the couch, as all of our fathers presumably have.
Yep.
And the Buzz Lightyear commercial comes on the screen. 2 fun facts about this commercial.
Mhm.
1, it uses the Star Wars laser sound from the
Mhm.
X-Wings. And 2, the narrator
It's
of
voiced
said
by-
commercial, Penn Jillette.
Mhm.
Really?
Awesome.
Holy shit! I
Yep.
did not
Yep.
notice that.
Also, the Toy Story advertising way more forward than real life advertising, because that not a flying toy, huge letters, spoken clearly.
Barely
just-
even see that today with the COVID warnings on commercials.
I just love the voice that they use for the not a flying toy, because it's so just like not a flying toy. It's like someone came.
Yeah.
Okay, can you give me that Alan Rickman impression that you have? Not a flying toy. This
So,
commercial is
with-
everything.
With Buzz's psyche absolutely destroyed, he is committed to proving everybody wrong and flying. Proceeds to jump off the tallest banister in the building and breaks his arm off.
And I will go sailing no more. And then
Woody
comes to my
discovers Buzz the
favorite scene. My favorite scene.
Woody discovers Buzz the next day having been taken in by Sid's sister and has taken on the persona of Mrs. Nesbit.
I'm just sitting here drinking. So one moment you're flying, the next moment you're sitting here sipping down Darjeeling with Marie Antoinette and her little sister.
Fun fact, this is the only time a character in a Pixar film has been shown in any state of inebriation, presumably Buzz acting as a drunkard in this state. Fun fact about that little line about Marie Antoinette
Mhm.
and her sister,
Mhm.
both of those dolls are shown without heads.
Mhm.
Marie Antoinette was King of France, who was guillotined in 1793 with her sister-in-law.
Yep.
Queen of France, but yes,
Yes.
That's what I
You got
said.
it.
What did I say?
he said king.
Oh, I'm doing
Also,
my best here. God damn it!
Also,
just
another.
to
I would say another line he says, and I just caught this viewing was like, "But tell me the hat looked good. The hat looked good, didn't it?" So funny.
referring to my notes, Mrs. Nesbit is goat. That's
Yes, that scene is like literally one of my favorite parts in any Pixar movie.
See,
Yep.
my favorite scene is actually, or my favorite line in most any Pixar film comes up right here, where Woody is able to get Buzz back into Sid's room and alert the toys in Andy's room that they are there, they're okay. And Woody asks Buzz to give him a hand here, and he throws his disjointed arm at Woody, who then proceeds to use it like a mime, only to then make the mistake of putting it in his other hand for all the other toys
He
to see.
switches it.
that
He
the
like
arm is
straight
no
up is
longer
just like,
attached to Buzz.
Like,
Yeah.
but
Alright.
I also
Even
want to point
thinking-
out that in my notes here I said Potato Head probably thought that OJ was innocent. I'm just gonna put that out there. Looking at like, listen, Potato Head could suck a dick. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, the glove didn't fit.
Okay.
So
okay.
hold on, another instance on how does the life of toys work.
God
Woody
damn it.
yeets these Christmas lights
Yes.
across the driveway. How fucking strong are these toys? Like,
I mean,
it's not even a small gap too. Like, it is like 2 or 3 car lengths.
Yeah, you're looking at the distance between two houses being at least like 40 to 50 feet.
And they catch it. Like, it's not even like it falls short. He almost overshot it.
Mhm.
How strong is this doll? He's made, like, his hands are
And-
plastic. The rest is all wool.
And technically, in the second one, he gets even more stronger. He's got that like pumping iron. You know what I'm saying?
this
like,
isn't even his final form.
Well, I mean, we see later in the film where he's able to. Well, I mean, that's more so the truck stopping, but we'll get to the moving truck in a bit. So the toys do not believe Woody. They think that he's just murdered Buzz, and they leave him to rot in Sid's room, where he is then put into a crate, and Sid puts a toolbox on top. Fun fact about the toolbox is a Binford toolbox, the same set of tools which Tim Allen used on his television show Home Improvement. There we go. And yeah, so we are then to the next day, and this sociopath Sid is sleeping in jeans in his bed like some kind of crazy person.
Who does
And
that?
it's time to launch Buzz attached to this crazy rocket he's bought. Which, how are these kids so easily able to get these explosives?
It was a different time, Mitch. It was a different time.
Back when you could.
You
order
of any
explosives
people
on the
should
internet.
know. You were what, 75 at that time?
Yeah, what was the war like?
Woody is adamant on rescuing Buzz and formulates a plan with Sid's disformed toys to be able to rescue Buzz from the backyard. Now we get a scene of, all of the.
I gotta say, before we continue to go on, Woody specifically says he's going to break some rules. What rules? Who established these rules? Do toys have a god? Do they follow commandments? Like, what rules?
It was the rule of not talking to the kids.
Who established
Who
it, though?
instilled these rules?
Established in Toy Toyington of
Maybe it's
1985.
just a fundamental aspect of their souls.
I feel like
If
we're
you believe
like
these toys have souls.
knowing Disney, we're probably gonna get a movie about that at some point.
Yeah, it's called Lightyear.
It's
We're getting
yeah.
in like what, 4
Yeah,
years?
but that's
something
not gonna be about the toys. That's just gonna be
I
about
know.
the Lightyear.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the traumatic toy experience, which will scar Sid for the rest of his life, of all of the toys working against him to basically scar him mentally for a very long time and force him into a career as a garbage person.
And the scariest
This-
part.
this zo-
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, just the zombie soldiers coming out
Coming out of the mud.
Just-
Yes,
God,
I
and the
literally
broken limbs.
I literally wrote that in my notes. The scariest part is the toys rising out of the mud. It is awful.
Oh God, yeah.
Also-
He's broken now. He is a broken human at this point.
Also, Sid's probably
I mean, he
Alex
was
Jones.
before, this just made it worse.
Sid's
Yeah.
probably Alex Jones now. Like he's just like, yeah, the toys. They came out, and they attacked me. They attacked me.
See, the scene also again another question on how do the lives of toys work. Woody manipulates his voice box. Like he makes it so his voice box sounds like he's talking to Sid. Can he just do that at any point?
I feel like that's yeah.
It boggled my mind.
There are no rules.
There
Except
aren't, but
one,
the-
apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, we also see that there is no catching up to Andy and his family as they move out of the house because Buzz and Woody, to their best, try to catch up to the vehicles, and Buzz gets stuck in the fence, can't make it. I'm trying to remember then what happened. Like, how did they end? I'm trying to remember the point between that and they get RC. I'm totally
they
Woody
opened
gets
up-
on the truck
Yeah,
and he opens it up to.
they're on-
Oh yeah, that's
because
right. He
Buzz
gets on the
gets
truck
attacked by
and
the
Buzz-
dog.
I was saying they
Yeah.
were on Scud.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they were riding Sid's dog Scud. They end up with Woody getting on the truck, opens the truck by some feat of strength, or the truck breaking and the door just opened, which is more of what I think it is instead of a feat of strength. Because again, toy.
But also
Gets into
Jacked.
jacked.
toy, gets into the box with Andy's toys, pulls out RC. People think he's a lunatic because they've come to the point of realization where they
Potato
believe
Head
Woody is
cooed.
just a sociopath or psychopath or whatever you want to call him, and Mr. Potato Head is basically a fascist dictator trying to get all the toys to rise up against Woody.
All right.
Even with, go ahead.
Mhm.
Another point, and I think my final point in the life of toys. How does this work? They throw. Not only does Woody throw RC off the bus, but then Woody gets thrown off the truck. Sorry. Do toys feel pain? It is shown that Woody does feel pain when like Buzz crushes his hand, and when Sid burns a hole in his head. But they also get stepped on and thrown around when they're in like toy mode. Do they feel what happens to them in toy mode? Do they not? How does this work?
I feel like they
we
feel
know
it.
they know feel that because that's what happened with Sid with the magnifying glass, right?
Well,
He
I
was
feel
in
like they
toy
feel
mode
it
and
like
felt-
right as they get into like the alive mode, because like for the moment, obviously, I don't know if he's just holding it or what, but it seemed like a big scream when he like Woody went back into Woody mode, of like and then he put his heads in the Cheerio, and then of course there's the suction cups on both Buzz's face and butt. I'm not gonna go any further there. I rest my case.
Fun fact: the Disney logo can be seen on Buzz's butt.
Oh,
So Woody throws RC out of the moving truck, and they're able to get back to Buzz. They're able to get him on RC. They're able to avoid Scud.
I think this also
And-
confirms your point that Mr. Potato Head definitely is racist to RC
Yep.
because no one gave a shit that he got thrown off of the truck. No
Also,
one.
I literally-
somehow RC cars don't work that way. They don't react to their remotes being tossed around to also be tossed around. Like they don't jump. RC cars don't
maybe
just
motion
randomly
controls.
jump.
Motion
How
controls.
fast is this goddamn RC car? It was beating cars back to the moving truck.
Listen,
Who
that's a
gives
real
kid
good-
a toy that can
real
go
good.
30 miles an
Listen,
hour. Like,
when
it doesn't make any
when
sense.
you put the RC into live mode, the turbocharge is there.
Also, the toys lower the ramp to try to get RC, Woody, and Buzz back on the truck. How does the driver of the truck not feel that?
I mean, maybe
We
he
also
did.
get a quick cut into the van with Andy, his mom, and his sister, and Hakuna Matata's playing on the radio, and I really
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm.
RC's battery dies. They think there's no chance of getting back to the truck. And Woody remembers Sid using the magnifying glass to light his forehead on fire and is able to do the same to the fuse on the rocket. This is the only time in the film we actually see any sort of flame or liquid or anything like that because the animation couldn't keep up with the technology couldn't keep up with what they wanted to animate. The only time they went above and beyond that was the explosion out of this rocket. How do none of these cars notice and freak out and skid around because there is a goddamn rocket being propelled below their vehicles?
That is a good question.
Yeah.
Woody's able to get RC back into the moving truck. Buzz, then they immediately kind of like shoot right up in the air because the power of the rocket. For whatever reason, Buzz didn't think until now to open his wings to get rid of the rocket. And they are then able, again, to fall with style. They miss the moving van and land right in the
We're not
box next to
aiming for the
Andy.
truck.
They land
Right.
right next to Andy in the car, which raises the question, why didn't Andy question his toys just appearing on the top of a box that's been in a moving vehicle for at least 15 minutes?
Kids are stupid.
Kids are very dumb.
Kids are very dumb. I also want to say we're not aiming for the truck. They almost died. Like they, like how? Just aim for the truck. You'll get with Andy in just a second. Like, what if they didn't make it? What if they just face planted on the ground? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Falling
could-
with style, though.
This-
That's the most important
It
thing.
had to be, they had to land with style, not just land in a box.
That's
like,
true.
Yeah.
Except they did still land in a
Also,
box.
they would
so
They would have to be
Ignore.
in a moving truck with Mr. Potato Head, which I don't think
we've
that-
already
yeah.
determined he's a xenophobic.
Yeah, they would not want to be with.
Yeah, if they missed that, they would have hit the top of the friggin' car, fallen out of the moving truck, and this whole 4-movie saga would be cut 3 movies short.
Mm-hmm.
With that, we're find ourselves in the new home on yet another, I think it's Christmas at this
It's
point.
Christmas.
right?
Yep.
And we find out that Andy and his family have a new puppy. And reprise of You've Got a Friend in Me. Fun fact, Randy Newman wrote You've Got a Friend in Me in one day.
Oh well.
Well, yeah,
And
because he
that
just like
Also,
they told
is
him
Toy
the
Story.
plot. They told him the plot, and it's just like, yeah. So you got a friend. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that's basically it.
I lied,
but that's all I
earlier.
got. That is the plot.
I think
Toy
TJ
Story.
and I might be saying the same thing, but go ahead, TJ.
I lied earlier. I have one more question
God damn it,
regarding
TJ, stop.
the life of toys.
Just wait.
Are toys horny?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
Yes.
It has been
Kick him from
confirmed.
this call, please.
This movie has
'Cause-
confirmed it.
Woody and Bo Peep, they're doing it.
But
Then-
also, is Bo Peep wearing lipstick? Why does he have marks on his face from when she
Right?
That's
kissed
right. She
him?
doesn't wear lipstick though.
She's made
Yeah.
of porcelain.
Also, Rex and Potato
Yes.
are thirsty.
Literally,
fun
Rex.
fact. Fun fact, just because 3 of the 4 of us are Canadian, Rick Moranis was at one point considered to voice Rex the dinosaur.
I believe it. Then they had Wallace Shawn,
Mm.
was just like basically, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, he literally says the line, "I hope it's a leaf eater, so I could be the dominant predator." What the fuck does that mean?
Rex likes to get the whips out.
Rex needs to be on top.
He's a low key
what I'm
dom.
Okay. And with that, I think we can wrap what is Toy Story. Any final thoughts on the film before we get into a couple of other things?
10 out of 10 film.
It
Absolutely.
really is. Like, it just, for what it does, and the story it tells, and the characters, it's perfect. It
Yeah.
really is. Like, any nitpicks aside of, like, some plot conveniences or, like, problems with the animation, I think just completely get outweighed by just how great the screenplay is for
Mhm.
this film, and just the characters alone. Like, Woody and Buzz are some of the best characters Pixar has ever made, and I think that got cemented in this movie.
Mhm.
Like, for me, I 100% agree. Like, it is, apart from like the questions it leaves unanswered regarding the life of toys, it is a perfect, I'd say, animated movie, just because
Perfect. Give me that when you stop me.
it entirely captures the imagination of childhood. And like, even like, I know I'm not that old, I'm only 25. Sorry, Grandpa, I don't mean to offend.
I'm only 3 years older than you. Relax.
Do you need to speak up, or can you turn up your hearing aid? But it perfectly captures the imagination of being a child, and like, it had me reminiscent of that, and it made me feel like a child again. And like, it is Pixar's best, some of Pixar's best work so far.
I definitely think like Toy Story is a movie that has always been with me. Like how I very much like the original trilogy of Star Wars has been with me since I was a kid. Like, this is like, I don't remember a world without Toy Story. Like, I don't remember like the anything. Like, it has such a cemented place in my heart for how great of a movie it is, how great it kind of talks about how what you do as a child, like the we talked about earlier, how playing with toys is the screenplay. It is the screenplay, and how that kind of develops over time. And man, like, where they go with the franchise for withholding, but we'll get to that when we get to that. What they do with this franchise is so good. And the thing is, this doesn't really have the Pixar like cry moment, like the signature Pixar like this is devastating moment like we know today. And it's still like, it's just a fun movie, and while it does have a message, it's not super strong. And I think it's amazing that it can still be as effective as it is.
Yeah.
I think ultimately this film comes down to being a story of friendship, of creating those bonds where those bonds you don't think those bonds could exist. It's a timeless story that anyone can really relate to. And given when it came out, 1995, the fact that the animation, the art, the character designs are still so iconic and so good looking, even on a 4K TV today, almost 20 years after the movie came, no, more than 20 years.
26 years almost.
Yeah.
I am so friggin' old. Jesus Christ. Just shows how ahead of their time Pixar was. And as we go through the rest of this series and then on to something else, we will definitely see that improve. Like we will see the quality they bring to almost all of their projects. We'll talk about a few of those as we get to them. And it's going to be a great time getting to explore Pixar with three of my best friends. So
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of the things I love about, I mean, just right from the get-go with Pixar is like they make movies that can appeal to everyone, but it's got so many like layers to it that like watching it again for the first time in I can't even say how long, like I picked up on so many more things that my dumb kid brain was just went right over, and it adds so much depth to all of Pixar's movies that like this is a theme going forward. And just like, you know, talking about the themes, this is something you might relate to, Mitch, but this is a movie about a midlife crisis, and I was waiting for a bigger reaction.
We see that same theme present itself in later Toy Story films. It's something that kind of runs throughout the franchise.
Yeah.
I hate you all, but please go ahead.
No, I think that's a really, really strong theme throughout the whole thing. But I mostly just wanted to bring it up because I just wanted to call you old.
Let's move on to rank the shorts.
Yeah.
So as we all know, Pixar, whether it be in the home video format or in theatrical releases, tends to pair a short with their feature films. In this case, the VHS release of Toy Story in 1995 featured the short Tin Toy, one of the first Pixar shorts, actually the first Pixar short as far as I can tell, to win an Oscar. So Tin Toy is what we're going to be talking about, and we are going to rank it against all the other shorts. All I have to say is, what the hell was that baby made of?
This is a horror film.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest here.
Film.
The story is lovely. Like the plot of the little thing of the toy being scared and then finding the other scared toys and then trying to comfort the kid who's then comforted by a bag. It's nice. Like, it's a nice story. It tugs at your heartstrings the way most Pixar things do, but God, that animation came a long way between 1988 and 1995.
Alex is 100% right. This is a horror film in multiple ways. One, you've got the friggin' Rancor chase from Star Wars, where the friggin' Tin Toy's being chased by a Rancor. Then
It's a toddler.
Finding all of the other toys. The Tin Toy sends himself to his death. He is ready to die. He is committing suicide here to save the other toys. And then the baby, she's like, nah, man, I'm cool. I'm going to play in this bag and potentially suffocate. This is an entire movie about somebody almost dying.
Not wrong.
There's only one short. Nick, I'll give you a second, then we can move on.
Oh no, I just said not wrong.
Okay, cool. All right. And with that, I think even though it's the only one on this list, I don't expect it to stay at the top for long, but I guess for now, Tin Toy goes to number 1 on our list of Pixar shorts released with Pixar films. Now we'll move on to another little fun segment that I'm very excited about. As I mentioned off the top, yours truly, Mr. Mitch George, did get engaged at Disney World. I have shared an affinity for Disney with someone very important to me, who is now my loving wife, Carmen George. And this is going to be a recurring segment because she's going to have to watch all these movies with me because that's what married people do. So we are going to introduce, for the first time on any Press YYZ product, a segment exclusively for my wife, which we're calling Carmi's Corner.
Carmi's Corner.
Carmi.
Everybody get ready for Carmi's Corner.
I even have my own music. Wow. Okay, great.
Yep.
Yeah, we're working on more official.
Hey,
stuff.
Carmi.
Hello.
How's everyone doing?
We're in your corner.
Yay. All right.
All right, Carmi,
Here we
we have
go.
a serious question for you before you start.
Yeah.
Do you think blow-up dolls come to life in the Toy Story universe?
I'll bring that up.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Have it.
Yes.
Okay. So, I'm very nervous. I haven't been on a podcast since we tried to build Mitch a computer with Press YYZ. That was
You're already doing a better job than Mitch.
August.
So keep on going.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me though?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. All right, here we go. What's up, Space Cadets? My name's Carmen, and welcome to Carmi's Corner. Here I'll be giving my review and opinion on this week's movie, Toy Story. Now, let's get started from the beginning. Toy Story was released over 25 years ago and has been a Disney cult classic ever since. I remember seeing this movie in theaters. I was 3. It's probably one of my first movie that I seen in theaters with my dad and my sister would have been 2, so she couldn't have come. And it was at a theater that's now a Good Life Fitness in Scarborough, and it was called Victoria Terrace. It was my favorite movie theater, and then they shut it down. They used to be had humongous escalators, and they put stairs because it's now a gym. They didn't want people using the escalators, so it's really
Makes
funny.
sense.
But yeah, I remember seeing that. Not too well though, because I was a child, a very young child. Personally, I've never been a crazy Toy Story fan, and which is really surprising though, because I am a crazy Disney nut, as you can tell from my cup that I got from Disney World. It's my favorite Starbucks cup that I have.
Oh, but the Starbucks though.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I have to admit the animation for this movie being the first major Pixar film was very well done. The colors of the characters, the glow-in-the-dark green, which Mitchell actually never brought up, that's in the movie on when Buzz is in the dark and his suit just glows.
I didn't bring that up
Really
either.
cool.
I noticed that because I know it's in like the second or third movie, but I forgot that he glows in the dark in this movie too.
Yeah. What else did I put? Oh, and the shiniest on the toys that you don't see in the newer movies. So like, okay, so I know this is such a completely different movie, but Toy Story 4, like if anyone has seen it, I'm so sorry, spoilers. We come to Bo Peep and she's a forgotten toy and there is no glow about her. She doesn't even look like a porcelain character anymore. Right. Same with Woody, same with Buzz. I know it's like even in like the second and third movie, you don't see that on any of the toys. Like they look like brand new toys, even though they're so old other than Buzz. Yeah.
I think they get like much more of a realistic glow too. Like as the movies go on,
as the movie
like
goes on.
Yeah. Like I think that Toy Story 1, like I think that it helps them out so much to have those like such shiny figures. Set to make the plasticky animation look better. I think that's why they also did Toy Story like a toy movie before as their first film, because then it would, not stand out as much.
And then the jokes. So the jokes are for both adults and children. For example, the hooker.
The hooker.
I
could be the dominant predator.
Oh my gosh! Well, she's called Legs.
Yeah.
But clearly her name is Hooker. And clearly I did not know that as a kid. And one of my all-time favorites, which you guys also brought up, is the shark.
Yeah.
The Woody shark is my favorite, like always
so funny.
My favorite thing from Disney. Hi, I'm Woody. Howdy. And then the music's great. Randy Newman did for this film, like how Elton John and Phil Collins did for The Lion King and Tarzan. And then, so here's finally my review. Okay, so Woody and Buzz hate each other in the beginning, but learn to love each other in the film and through Andy's life, along with his toys like Mr. Potato Head, Rex, and Ham, and all the other toys that they had. Now that I see it, though, as an adult, Andy was a very spoiled child.
Yes. Oh,
he
yeah.
had everything.
Yeah.
I think all I had from like that, like he had, I think I didn't even have a potato head. I think I just had an Etch-a-Sketch, and then I had Barbies.
When we talk about like
what he had,
we talk about like how Sid's sister is traumatized. Think about like how Molly is traumatized by like how Andy is like the focal point not only of the movie, but it seems like this family,
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, well,
she just
when
has
your
what,
dad walks
Bo
out
Peep?
on you, you're gonna get spoiled.
Did he walk out or did he die?
Either way, when your dad's not in your life anymore, you're just gonna get spoiled by your mom.
True.
His sister, like, she's still a baby. Like, she has no memory of the father. So it's like, who cares? This
Yeah.
is just her life.
And thank you for bringing that up, because now I have conspiracy theories that I've heard over the years that you guys didn't know about that I was going to bring up. So there's a big conspiracy that I've heard over the years that Woody actually belonged to Andy's father, and Andy's father passed away. So you can kind of tell from the writing on the shoe in other movies. So when Andy gets like brand new toys, the writing looks a little bit different. But since Woody is such an old toy, the toy actually belonged to the father.
Mm-hmm.
And since the father passed away, the toys were brought up to the attic because you don't see any other toy. Woody was his prized possession.
Right.
It was such in good condition and everything. And Andy's, like I said, Andy's father was also Andy. And then they had such a similar like features
Upbringing.
that Woody never knew the difference.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So that's I heard that one for such a long. I was trying to look it up while I was eating dinner today, and I couldn't find it anymore. But that was a big conspiracy that I found. And then that Andy's mom is actually Jesse's owner, Emily.
Jesse's owner. Yeah, I thought the same thing.
That's another movie. That's
Yeah.
another movie. So we're just talking about the original. And there's also real morbid ones as well. That are way too depressing to share, and I'll have you guys look
it up on
your
Reddit,
own.
everybody.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, this is and that's it for today from Carmi's Corner.
So before you go, Carmi,
Okay, hold on.
we have two questions.
Yes.
One, as asked by Mitch, what was your Woody? So what was the toy that you couldn't put down?
I don't know. We weren't really I don't know. We weren't really toy people.
No, like Max Steels or
Max
Little
or
Army Men or Barbies or Lego
Combat Carls.
Like, what's Max Steel? What is that?
It's like a little action figure dude. He like had different
had,
jobs.
Yeah.
It's Barbie, but for boys.
It's
apparently.
Barbie for boy
like
Barbie.
we had Polly Pockets. I remember
Polly
Polly
Pockets.
Pockets. Those are the best.
I flushed one down our toilet, and we had to call a plumber to replace our toilet.
We have a lot of like weird toy stories.
Yeah.
Say the name of the movie.
So Polly Pocket's your answer?
Yeah, I think Polly Pocket's my answer.
All right.
Yeah.
And
All right.
the second one, I asked you when you came in, and you did not answer. Do you think the sex dolls come to life?
So that was also one of the conspiracy theory things too that I forgot to write it down. So what they said is that they they can hear me, it's fine.
Yeah.
So since they I think since they couldn't they didn't really belong to children, they didn't come to life. But like another thing too, which I was going to bring up the non-morbid things, but if a doll dies or like a toy dies, the toys know. So Andy or whoever the kids are is just playing with their dead body.
Can toys die though?
I don't know.
I mean, Wheezy.
This is why
Wheezy got close at some point. Spoilers, but
we need these answers, Pixar. Get us these answers.
Yeah.
Or whoever, Seth Rogen and the guys who made Sausage Party, give us sex toy story.
I don't know if I want that movie.
I don't think they want a lawsuit from Disney.
Yeah.
No, but if you do look up the sex toy thing on Reddit, then it is there. There is something about it there.
All right.
And then
Thank you very much.
Mr. Potato Head,
Thank you.
piece of shit, right?
Yep.
Absolutely. All right.
But I think he does get better once he does get married.
Fair. I think Miss Potato Head kind of keeps him in line a little bit, but
Yeah.
he's
And
still
like, who's
kind of
Mrs.
associated.
Potato Head's toy? Is that Molly's toy, or is that another toy that
I don't
Andy
know.
just gets?
I think it's just another Andy toy because I mean, like,
Yeah, I think so.
he's probably spoiled. He's just spoiled. He's just really spoiled.
He's
Which,
a
like,
really spoiled kid.
Yeah.
And
Anyways,
it's a sociopath. So
Yeah.
I'm so happy we don't see him grow up.
yeah,
He's just-
yeah. Oh, there's some interesting pictures out there. Let me tell you of some things, some ideas, some conspiracies. Anyways,
Oh my
this
God.
has been
Oh, anyways.
Carmi's Corner. Yeah, we're in the Carmi
Thanks for
Corner,
joining, Carmi.
coming to the Carmi Corner. Now here's Mitch.
Downgrade.
I hope that was
Aloha.
fun.
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
very fun.
I'm glad to hear it. Now, with Carmi's Corner all wrapped up in a bow nice and tight, we can rank this film. It's the only one.
I think
So
it's
going to number one.
I think it's gonna be number one with a bullet going forward.
I
Yeah,
don't know
as-
how-
Ooh, interesting.
With not with at least for a while. There's movies
What?
that I haven't seen. So I haven't seen Pixar. I haven't seen Pixar. I haven't
Any
seen
Pixar film.
I haven't seen Ratatouille. I haven't seen Brave. I haven't seen Good Dinosaur, and I haven't seen Cars 3.
Okay, so
So-
let's.
Okay,
since
you're
we
missing
can't really-
one.
Yeah.
Since we can't rank this because it's obviously the only one on our list for now, which film do you think is going to surpass it as number one? We'll just go one by one and see if we can guess where it might fall.
Oh wait, ready?
So
You,
we-
you ready,
Do we want to
TJ?
do this?
You ready,
Do we
TJ?
want to do this because I feel like this is going to determine our rankings for the future.
No, it's not. It's not because we will forget about this in a week.
All right, are you
We're
ready,
not
TJ?
recording For
Are you
another
ready,
2 weeks.
TJ?
We're gonna start
One.
with Alex because I
Okay,
don't like you
Alex,
guys. We're gonna start with
Alex.
Alex.
Okay, so like, am I just for clarification? Am I saying the next
one that will-
in the
will con-
list?
The
No.
next one on the release list of Pixar
Ooh.
films you think will surpass Toy Story?
Or
on our
at least
list?
contest. You think it will contest?
Okay. I think if it's not Toy Story 2, then I think it would be Monsters Inc. I think Monsters Inc. has the best shot out of.
All right.
Monsters
What,
Inc.
all right, ready? Are you ready, TJ?
Monsters Inc. The only Pixar movie I don't think I've ever seen.
Ooh,
Oh, you are in.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
Yeah.
But Nick, I am ready.
1, 2, 3, Wally.
Wally.
We said it.
you think okay? I mean, you think Wally, out of everything else that's upcoming on their slate, is going to be the only one to surpass Toy Story?
Not
1?
the only one.
No, you think it'll be the first one to surpass?
You
Yeah.
think it's going to be the first one?
Yeah.
Yes. Again, I'm not going
You
too
guys
far
are
into it because we
goddamn
have a
lunatics.
literal
Oh.
entire podcast discussing why. So
I love
I
Yeah.
don't
Toy
think
Story.
it could be as early as Monsters Inc., but I think it's
I can't comment on
probably
Monsters Inc. I've never
either-
seen it.
Incredibles or Ratatouille before it's Wally. But
I
we'll see.
can see it being either of those as well.
I love Incredibles. I
Sorry.
don't know if it's that high.
I also haven't seen Incredibles 2.
This
You're
is
not
the first
missing
one, but we will get to it.
Anyways.
So as
Yeah,
we have
we
said
will get to it.
on a number of occasions, thank you for tuning in for the first and hopefully not last episode of YYZ Video. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to check out Press YYZ wherever you can find us. Twitter at Press YYZ, YouTube Press YYZ, Twitch Press YYZ, and podcast services everywhere. And of course, you can find the rest of us where we are on our various social medias. I have been your host, Mr. Mitch George. You can find me at Mr. Mitch George literally anywhere you can find me. Alex, where are you on the internet?
You can find me on everywhere. Blatantly Alex on Twitter, blatantly _ Alex on Twitter, and blatantly Alex on Instagram as well. If you want to keep up with how I'm going to be ranking these movies, you can follow my letterbox at I think it's Alex Loves Memes. I think.
I'm also tracking mine in Letterboxd, so I'm going to go verify that. But while I verify what his Letterboxd account is, TJ, where are you on the web?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Private Jeebus. That's PVTTJEBUS. And see all the stupid stuff I post. The only thing I'll say is in the comments below or on Twitter, whatever, let us know what you thought of Toy Story. And if you think that sex dolls will come to life, because I need to know.
I
is
can
very
confirm I only follow a single person on Letterboxd, and that man is one Nick Blaine. So, Nick, where are you on the internet?
Well, of course, you can find me on Letterboxd at Shotgun McPain. YouTube.com. I'm so used to the YouTube.com plug. You can find me on
still a
Letterboxd at
plug.
letterboxd.com/Shotgun McPain. And then you can also find me making some cool content. I've had this very man over at youtube.com/Shotgun McPain, where I do Memory Lane Unscripted, a cool video game interview series and a nostalgia trip. And also, you can find me on Twitter at Shotgun McPain, everywhere basically at Shotgun McPain. And of course, I do a bunch of editing stuff. Just keep it on my Twitter, and you'll find what I'm doing.
All right. And with that, until next time, thank you for going to the movies with us.
Take care,
Be
guys.
kind.
Bye.
Be kind, rewind.